have had, whoa, I almost fell over. I have had this Triumph Scrambler 900 for about 3 weeks now, and in that 3 weeks I have done just about 500 miles on it. That isn't a massive amount of miles. Sometimes I do that amount of miles in one day, but I can say that those miles snuck up on me because I've been having such a good time with this motorcycle. So since I'm coming up on the first service of this bike, and I'm coming up on my first month of ownership with the bike, I figured it's as good a time as any to go ahead and give you my initial thoughts review on it. I'm gonna tell you some stuff I like, I'm gonna tell you some stuff I dislike, and I'm gonna tell you some stuff I plan to change. While we do this, I'm gonna run some errands because this is my daily rider, so I figured I might as well make this video while doing some daily rider stuff. Let's get on into it. Let's take a look at how I fit on the bike. For reference, I am 5 feet 11 inches and I have a 32-inch inseam. I weigh about 186 pounds, not that that necessarily matters, but just in case you're wondering how I compare to your overall body size, this is how I fit on the bike when I'm standing up around it, when I'm standing over it, and when I have my feet up on the pegs. I didn't even remember that it was election day today until I saw somebody post it on their story. So I am here. Let's see what that says. Commercial dealer next door. I don't know that it actually is voting time here today. At least not at this location where I normally vote. The plot thickens. Whoa, speaking of the plot thickening, what the hell is that, my dude? Ooh, brother, ooh. That guy is like, ooh, brother. Used my brilliant powers of deduction and saw that giant sign over there that says vote here. So I'm gonna move the bike a little closer just to keep my eye on it. Mission accomplished. Getting gas on the Scrambler is honestly pretty easy. The key, or the gas cap is keyed, but you can unlock it and leave it unlocked, which is super handy. I learned that on my bobber, and it is just a nice little trick. I don't worry about anybody stealing my gas, so I don't need a locked gas cap. So being able to leave it unlocked and just thread it in is really nice. Some people have complained about the models like this one or the Street Twin where the gas cap is not hinged. So you do have to sit it down somewhere. I see how that's annoying. I see how that can be bothersome. To me, it's not a big deal. The seat is nice and flat, so I just flip it upside down. It sits there pretty good. I do fill the bike with premium. I always splash some. Let's see if I can not splash some this time while you're watching. But $9, about 2 gallons, got it back to full. So realistically, I'm guessing I had a whole nother gallon of gas in there when the light came on. I don't know, I'm not gonna test it. So basically 40 miles per gallon on average, 80 miles before that light comes on. We can probably assume about 120 miles of range, but I will never get that because I'm just gonna stop. I don't know what it says about me as a person, but I use an alarming amount of shout, like the stain remover. I use so much of it, and I am out, so let's take the Scrambler to go get some more of it, right? Just an everyday thing that I have to do. I don't have to do it every day. I'm not using that much of it. It's not like I'm eating the shit, but I use a lot of it, so I'm gonna go get some more. The grocery store is right around this way. Let's go get the shout, and why not have a little peruse and get myself a little treat if I see anything good. I am like a sucker for like weird niche like vegan junk food. Like if there's a random like frozen vegan cannoli or a pizza roll or just something that like has no business being vegan, I am for sure gonna buy it. It is a fun little thing that I get to do because I'm an adult and nobody can tell me what to eat. No, they don't have the normal shout I get. I like the one with the little scrubby teeth on it. It works really well, and they don't have it. They have this OxyClean one, which looks similar. It's a gel, but I don't know. If you guys have used this, let me know down in the comments. Do you like it? I'm gonna grab it. That little grocery store run brings me directly into my next topic of discussion, which is storage. The Scrambler 900 and all of the modern classics for that matter are definitely form over function machines. They are beautiful, but they are not always the most functional thing on the market. So with that being said, they do come from the factory with little to no storage. And generally that's not a big deal. You just go through the parts catalog and pick out what you want, or you'll hit the aftermarket, whatever your favorite website is, and buy some aftermarket storage, some universal parts. But the Scrambler 900 does introduce a couple little hiccups in that process. This tall exhaust is beautiful. It is the showpiece. It is why a lot of people buy this motorcycle. I love it, but it is also promptly in the way. If you want to run something like the Biltwell Exfil 36 saddlebags that I ran on my Dyna, those bags just fit under the seat or over the seat and just hang on the side. Generally, there is a universal saddlebag bracket that blocks the bag from hitting the wheel or whatever is right there. That doesn't really work for this bike because they would have to be really far offset to one side to clear the exhaust. And then that exhaust has no heat shield at the end where the bag would make contact, so it would just melt the bag. To solve that problem, Triumph does offer a single-sided bag system that fits here. You get one bag, so half the amount of storage, but it is an option, and it is an option from the factory, so should be pretty easy to install. I am not going to go with that. I am actually going to go with the SW Motec products because they offer a bag that matches my Legends Gear tank bag here, and I think they generally look better than the Triumph Luggage, so I'm going to go that route. And then if we step away from the exhaust and head up to the passenger seat here, there's also some features / hiccups there. The really cool thing about this seat is you can pop it off and then use the same exact bracketry to add a rack. Then you have a rack to mount your luggage, whatever dry bag or Triumph specific bag you have can mount right there. And that works great if you are a solo rider. But if you want to carry a passenger, that will not work. You're going to need to run a rear rack. And you cannot run the Triumph factory rear rack with this seat. You are gonna have to get this seat here, which I believe is called the Triumph 2-up seat. Once you buy that, you can then fit the factory Triumph luggage, or luggage rack, I suppose, and then their luggage if you want. And that's what I am gonna do. I'm gonna buy that new seat, I am gonna buy their rack, and I'm gonna buy their branded tail bag most likely, unless I can find a Legends Gear tank bag that matches perfectly, because I do want to retain the passenger seat. We do plan to do some 2-up touring, so I want to have passenger pegs, I want to have a passenger seat, and I want to have all the luggage possible. I am thinking with between this rack holding a bag, this saddlebag, and my tank bag, and then some clever stacking on top of those bags, I'll have plenty of storage. So that's the route I'm gonna go, and I won't have to deal with the exhaust at all. Next, we are going to talk about this engine. The 900 HT motor is my favorite current production engine from Triumph. At this point, I have ridden every engine in their model lineup, and this one is my favorite. The power delivery on this is just so buttery smooth and predictable that it's like invigorating. You just feel like you're just really, really, really good at riding because the engine is so compliant. The 1200 motor that they put in the Bobber and the Speed Twin kind of suffers from some low RPM herky-jerkiness. It wants to give you that full torque punch right as soon as you open the throttle, and that's cool when you're on like a test drive. It seems really invigorating. It's cool to rip off as soon as the light turns green, but when you're trying to get through a parking lot or you're in some city traffic, you're doing that stop and go work, just trying to get where you're going and try to stay alive, it's really, really annoying dealing with that, and it's honestly just a real big handful. Not to say you can't, that's not a reason not to buy those bikes, but a lot of people end up trying to solve that herky-jerkiness with like throttle spacers and booster plugs and things like that. This bike, you do not have to do that. This bike is just buttery smooth at the low RPMs when you're doing that stop and go, when you're trying to do low speed maneuvers. And then that power curve builds into a nice hefty mid-range that's just super usable. On the back roads, I blast around. I have a killer time on this bike. And then that peters off into the high RPMs. But instead of like kind of peaking and then just falling off, it plateaus nice and reliably. So you know when you're at the top of your power band, and then you can just dial it back a little bit. and just cruise there without a ton of vibrations coming through the handlebars, without a ton of vibrations coming through the pegs. It's just super usable, super predictable, and all in all, it just makes for a really nice motorcycle to ride. I absolutely fell in love with this motor when I started riding the Street Twin, and I just knew that I had to get it on a bike that I was going to keep long term. I've taken this bike off-road maybe a total of 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Nothing super heavy. One time down a gravel road. One time was basically glorified urban exploration. There was dirt, but there was also some broken concrete. And then the other time I went to a pretty easy dirt trail that I'm used to riding. It's really, really mellow. But that's kind of what I wanted this bike for. I want to do mainly street riding with the potential to do some light off-roading. And I think I made the right decision. On the trails that I went down, on the gravel I was going down, it handled it perfectly fine. These tires did a good job, and the suspension was up to the task. If you hit a big whoop, which I did a single time, you can bottom out the suspension both front and rear, but that's to be expected. It's not really off-road suspension. It's just a little bit better than the standard street bike, which is the Street Twin, which is right there. Do I plan to upgrade the suspension to do more off-roading? As of right now, no, honestly. I think what I will plan to do is get a better skid plate, because the bottom area of the bike is kind of defenseless. They put a skid plate on there, but it's not very good. Like, it's just a piece of plastic. I just touched it to confirm. It's just made of plastic. It's more of a styling exercise than it's actual protection. So I'm gonna put a big beefy metal skid plate on there, and I think I'm gonna run the tall front fender simply for looks, not because I really need it. But as far as off-road stuff, that'll be it. I may do a lower engine crash guard, mostly because I'll be able to add highway pegs to it, not because I actually plan to drop it off-road. So I was getting ready to conclude this video. I was wheeling the bike around to here so I can get some more light on it because the sun is setting. And when I did, I grabbed a hold of this seat strap here, and I'm not gonna pull on it because I don't wanna completely dislodge it, but I completely broke the seat. The screw that holds it in popped right out. Like the threads that the screw goes into, those came with it. This seat is now broken. I did a quick search on the Triumph Rat forum, and a lot of people have broken this seat. So that's just kind of a real-time issue right there. I broke the seat by just pulling on that strap. So that is a thing to think about. Like I said earlier in the video, I will be switching the seat, so not a huge deal to me. Just means I shouldn't trust that to hold my luggage or a passenger until I get that new seat. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and take it off. But yeah, that is my video, my first review on the Triumph Scrambler 900. All in all, I really love this motorcycle. There's a couple things that I want to change, a couple things that I want to modify / fix. But yeah, great bike for what I need it for. I am very, very happy with this purchase. And if you are like-minded and kind of after the same thing as me, I think you'll be very happy too. But we're gonna go ahead and stop dragging this video on. If you enjoyed this, hit thumbs up. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit subscribe. And last but not least, go out and have yourself a big dinner. Calories aren't real, but happiness is. Order that dessert. I will see you on the next one. Peace.